Good everyone, thanks for joining me today. Welcome to the channel. My name's Nichols. Today I'm going to talk about that the primacy of your job in your life and my life is performance and to help others to perform the best they can. This comes up for me particularly when I'm thinking about moments or areas in my life where I don't feel that where, put frankly, even in modern society, there are areas where either myself or I can see others are clearly being discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic that they can't change. And this might be in, as Coleman Hughes might point out, or one of the other people might point out, this might be implicit discrimination, explicit discrimination, or differential institutional policies, whereby you get. I think Lewis Roseman was talking about this, whereby you have a policy of an institution or just, or something, and it's not that it's explicitly trying to be discriminatory, but it just happens to disproportionately affect certain groups of people. So I don't want to get into exactly what that forms are, but I certainly see this. It is part of our lives. Even the measures we might take to try and address one form of discrimination or historical discrimination can therefore cause us to discriminate against the individual at some sort of institutional level. Again, I'm agnostic to exactly whether that should or shouldn't happen and in what cases. But it is just the fact of, I think, everybody who exists that will come to this point of like, oh, just a second, that doesn't seem fair to me. That's not treating me fairly as an individual, or not treating someone else fairly as an individual. Or any number of reasons. But basically what my point is that I think that overall, even though we might see the world differently, in some cases might be brought into conflict about these things, because I don't see neat solutions that covers everybody's desire to both deal with historical issues of discrimination and present day issues, future issues, and the difference between people. It just feels like there's always going to be some unfairness in the world. The world doesn't seem to be a fair place. And societally and institutionally, there's just going to be unfairness. But I do think there's a way forward with this. And I think that as long as your principle, your premise is that the idea basically is to act in good faith, aim primarily, predominantly, your job is your personal achievement. You are a strikingly beautiful soul, I guess, with enormous and almost enormous potential. But life isn't fair. And the truth is, what your job is to achieve that potential and walk your path. Be that shining light in the world. And where you can, help others to achieve their potential. And of course, in doing that, do our best to give people the opportunities across the board. Don't, obviously, as much as we can, we want a fair world, but it doesn't exist. I think the primacy of it is simply to give people the best opportunities to be the best versions of themselves. I think if you come from that way, we can all kind of at least agree with that. That in principle is the way forward. And I think the other thing to realize, just look, it's not your fault. Like, you don't need to suddenly be angry or upset about this discrimination against yourself, about somebody else. It's not your fault. That's the way the world is. There are institutions that discriminate. There are the life itself discriminates. Like, it's just not a fair world. And some people have fantastic fortune, some will have bad fortune. And that's just the way of the gods. It's not your fault, and it's not even your responsibility directly to deal with this. Your responsibility is your own achievement and to help the individuals where you can. And in doing so, as you achieve greatness in yourself, you have that opportunity to right the playing field and try and make a moral world and a just world, then so be it, do that. But what you mustn't do, and what I mustn't do, is be consumed by being upset by situations where you see unfairness, discrimination, either implicitly, explicitly, or through differential policies. Becoming consumed by that and allowing that to affect your ability to function, your ability to become the best version of yourself, doesn't help you, doesn't help anyone, doesn't help the people who discriminate against. And in the end, most people are acting in good faith. But we do have a different idea about what sort of world we want to live in to some extent. But I think we can come to common ground that as an individual, it's up to you to achieve greatness in yourself and use whatever tools you can to do that, except the world is unfair in certain ways. But we should always seek a just and fair world. But becoming consumed with anger or being upset by these things is not, it's not helpful. And it happens in various ways, but for me personally, I think the most enlightening way that showed me that that doesn't work is just because with my hearing loss, I felt for many years that everybody else in the world was luckier than me. And look, that's just not a helpful way to live. And I'm incredibly fortunate, obviously, with the technology I have, to live relatively normally, to have that, that disability managed in a way that allows me to function normally. But the truth is that mindset is not productive. The mindset that is productive is understand that everybody has challenges, and my job, my role is to achieve greatness however I can, and to encourage others to do that and help other people out, rather than being consumed with, rather than being upset by the fact the world is not equal in every way. It's not. But we can all equally strive for greatness in ourselves, despite whatever adverse circumstance we have. And we all must do. That's a right and responsibility that we do have. And we must do that thing and help others do the same. That, I think, is the basic human script of a tribe. And we're all part of the global tribe now. So, all right, well, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.